What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be getting rid of the ugly power cable coming from my radar detector that goes across the dash into a cigarette lighter. We're going to be replacing that whole cable with a little tiny hardwire kit. You're only going to see like that much of the power cable afterwards. The best part is we're going to pair all of this up with a glorious BlendMount kit. If you're not familiar with the BlendMount kit, it's going to mount that sucker right underneath the mirror, making it super low profile and clean. And the best part is I'm going to get everybody 10% off a BlendMount kit for yourself as well.
Perfect.
I already have a hardwire kit, obviously, from my F30, but I did pick up a BlendMount. In the F30, I just did the suction cup and just dealt with it, but BlendMount is the ideal way to go. If you're not familiar with them, they basically make really low profile but high quality radar mounts. So the one that they make for the Uniden R3, basically it's gonna hook obviously right underneath the rearview mirror, and it's going to sit flush with the mirror, so it's going to be nice and tucked away. And then we're going to utilize that hardwire kit that I have to basically go up and tap in to our rearview mirror, just like I did in the F30, so that we have no cables, nothing hanging down. It's going to get powered right there. And then if you guys aren't familiar with the way the hardwire kit is, basically the wires that I'm going to be tapping into and showing you guys, those are basically wires that control certain sensors in the mirror. And when you turn on the car, they come on. When you turn the car off, it takes about, I think it's somewhere around like maybe 30 to 40 seconds or so, and then it cuts off automatically. That way it's not draining your battery, but it's there when you're driving. So hands-free comes on, goes off, which is basically how the hardwire kit works. So that's what we're gonna be installing today. I'm gonna kind of flip through it. I've already done it before, so I'm a little familiar on how to do it a little bit quicker, but I'm gonna make sure that I show you guys, of course, the important parts, where it's hardwiring, where it's tapping in, and of course, everything's gonna be linked down in the description. So if you guys need any of those, you can always check them out there. One huge thing that I'm gonna be doing for you guys is we are gonna be able to get you 10% off. Yes, 10% off a BlendMount kit if you would like one. I will have the link. You basically just use my link that I created with BlendMount. Once you use that, you'll go to their site. If you order it, you'll get 10% off of your purchase of a BlendMount radar mount. So super excited about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the car. I'm gonna try to set up some lights and stuff because it's raining. So it's, I've got lights in here, but it just, no sunroof. It kind of just limits the light in the car. So we'll see what we can do, but we'll go ahead and jump into it and get started. All right, everybody, here's the glorious cockpit, and of course my favorite steering wheel, literally ever. But anyway, so this is my current solution. You guys can see I just have the radar mounted right here with a suction cup. Cable hangs down, and then I normally plug it into the cigarette lighter down there. I can't stand this cable hanging here. It's killing my OCD. So that's why we're fixing it, and we're gonna swap it out with this. So you can kind of see I've already hooked on the adjustments from the last time I installed this in the F30, but basically it comes with everything here for like, I think it's like $15 or $16 or something. But basically this is the end that plugs into your radar detector, and then this is the end where we're tapping in. Basically it had like really long fittings on there, and I just basically, you tape on your smaller fittings, because those smaller fittings are the ones that you're going to want to hook into the actual hardwire. So next, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way, obviously, hopefully for the last time. And then up here, this is what we're going to be basically working with. So if you look right here, you've got your housing. This is what holds your wiring harness. All you have to do is just take a little tiny trim tool, go in between here and just wiggle it apart. And it's held on with just like little tiny little tabs. So just do it really slowly and gentle just to get this off, but I'll go ahead and get this removed, then I'll show you guys the wiring harness that we're talking about. All right, so to quickly show you guys a little bit easier how this comes apart now that I've got it off. So it sits up there like that, and like I said, it splits right down the middle. It just has little tabs that hold it together. You can see those are the little tiny tabs there that holds this whole thing together. So when you're going through and splitting it, just be super gentle. So you just don't want to break these tabs. But once you pull it out, it literally just comes apart. And then you separate it up there and basically just pull it around the mirror and get it out. And then now, as you can see, we can get access to our wiring harness. Looking closer here at the wiring harness, you see that little pink wiring harness? That's the one that we need to get out to actually tap into. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this big one unplugged. I'm going to unplug the pink one and pull it out so we can get better access to it. And then I'm gonna show you guys which ports we're gonna be plugging in our hardwire kit to. Here is our pink wiring harness. So you see the red wire, that is where we're going to be plugging in our red wire. The brown wire is where we're going to be plugging in our black wire, which is our ground. I'm going to plug those in to those ports. And then before we install anything, I'm going to put the pink plug back in. And I'm just going to make sure, after plugging our wiring harness and plugging that into the radar detector, that we have power. You of course want to test the power. Make sure this functions as it's supposed to before we actually start putting everything back together. As you can see, I've got it pinned in now, black into the brown and red into the red. And I've got our full hardwire kit cable plugged in here now. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to plug both of those wiring harnesses back into the car. And then you see this part here that's wrapped up with Teflon tape. Basically what we're going to do is I'm going to zip tie this hardwire cable to that. That way, if the radar detector for whatever reason falls off the windshield, falls in any way, that cable can hold the weight. But we don't want the weight to pull it directly out of those plugs and out of the wiring harness. Just for a safety aspect, so you're not messing with any of the really flimsy wires. That cable right there is going to be able to hold the weight if for some reason the radar did fall. All right, so the car's completely off right now, so we technically shouldn't get any power when we plug it in. Everything's hooked up. Go ahead and test out the power. All right, so she's plugged in. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit just the auxiliary on the car since we're in the garage. Let's see if the power comes on for us. Nice. Perfect. Sweet. I'm already excited. All right, let's kill that. All right, so we know that it's going to function as it should now. And like I mentioned, it's going to take about 45 seconds or so for this to turn off now that I've killed the power for the car. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this. And like I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and zip tie it to that main cable that's hooked up with the Teflon tape. Just so we can make sure if for some reason the radar does fall, that is going to hold the weight of a radar detector versus actually leaving all of that weight strictly on those pins that we wiretapped. You don't want to do that because one, it may damage the wiring harness, and two, it's going to rip them out. So you're going to have to probably go back in here and actually fix that and reinstall those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this zip tied up, show you guys kind of where I zip tied it just for the sake of showing you guys. And then from there, I'm basically just going to put the housing back on the mirror, and then we'll get started on installing the actual radar blend mount. All right, so just like I mentioned, I zip tied it to this main cable right there so that the weight is not being held on those pins if it for some reason fell. Now I know that the radar detector mount for this is going to be on the left side of the radar, so I tried to route the cable so it came out the left side of the mirror housing, and then I'm just going to take some scissors and cut off this little excess of the zip tie. All right, just like that, we got the housing scooped back on there, and we've got our radar cable hanging out right here. I told you guys this thing is gonna be sweet, and it'll stick out just slightly out the side there and plug into our radar that's supposed to hang right here below the mirror. And when you have this thing up here, you're not even gonna be able to see the cable. It is going to be sweet. So here's everything that actually comes in the blend mount kit. You of course have the mount itself, really extremely thin and low profile, like I was mentioning, on how it's going to connect to the actual mirror. You have your tools and screws for tightening, and then you have, of course, detailed instructions here on how to install. So I kind of just briefly went over the instructions. I don't want to fully follow those because that's just not who I am. But what I was looking at here is basically this bottom screw right there. That one is going to adjust how tight this is. So we're going to open it up to get it over the actual mirror stem. This one is going to adjust your pivot. This one over here, you're going to be able to pivot this way, however much you want to tilt it up. And then these two on the back here, you can actually move this mount up and down depending on how close you want it to the mirror. So that's another adjustment that you can make. Once you tighten all this down with this Allen key, this thing is supposed to be super sturdy. So let's go ahead and hop in the car and just start playing with it. All right, so I got it on the stem here, and just look how thin that mount is. It takes up very little space on the actual mirror stem, which is awesome. But I was of course tightening down that piece with the Allen key. Any guesses what I did? Any guesses where the Allen key went? Any? If you guessed the pit of death, you guessed correctly. It's way down there. So now I gotta go get it and fish it out. I knew this was gonna happen. This is why I'm glad I have one of these magnetic sticks so that I could get that out. But anyways, so I have this like snug around the post here. And you can see, like I said, how little space it takes up. With it on there, I still have full range of motion of the mirror. That was one of the huge complaints I saw from one of the Amazon kits that are like $30. This kit's like $130, so it's extremely high quality. And you can see you get those benefits like that, where you get full range of your mirror and still being able to have it attached to the stem. So looking at the other adjustments that this piece has, first, and really I think these are the only few that you've got range of motion this way. So depending on how you want to tilt or tip your radar mount underneath your mirror, and then how close you want. So you've got this one to adjust up and down depending on how actually close you want it to your mirror. And you basically just tighten those down and you're good to go. So I'm gonna get this adjusted up here how I kind of like it, and I'll show you guys what the end result is. All right, so I think I've got the mount up where I wanted it. I basically adjusted it so it's facing straight forward. That way it picks up the best signal. The mount itself, I've got it snugged right up underneath my mirror. I mean, that is so low profile. It looks awesome. I mean, sitting here in the cockpit, like, it's so hardly noticeable. No more wire hanging across the dash. Hardwire kit plus the blend mount is definitely the move. Look how slimline this is behind here. Like, that looks so good. And I still have full range of motion of my mirror, which is a huge benefit. Just to kind of show you guys how sturdy this thing actually is. So it has a little foam pad up here where it actually connects and touches on the radar. Look how little this thing is going to move. Like, you can just hear how sturdy this is. Like, it is on there tight. Like, it holds on to the radar so it's not hanging and just like wiggling as most radar mounts do. It is tight up against the actual mount itself. You can see up there where it touches. Like, it's on there. Like, this thing is not going anywhere. Not gonna have to worry about it vibrating while you drive or anything. It looks so good. Definitely happy that I went this route. If you guys are looking for a blend mount, 10% off with my link in the description. Going through that avenue, you guys are gonna get 10% off a blend mount kit for yourself. And then I'm also gonna link all the other pieces that I used as well. All right, guys, so that kind of shows you the hardwire kit paired with a blend mount for a Uniden R3. Now, that's how everything pairs up with my car as far as like where to do the wiretaps and everything. It could be different for other cars. So far, the F chassis seems to be pretty consistent, F30, and then this is, of course, an F82, and pretty much the exact same setup. So hope that helped you guys, but ultimately my review of kind of the products themselves, one, I've had the Uniden R3 radar detector forever. So that's going to be linked down below. I definitely recommend that. It has saved me countless times. Hardwire kit, definitely need that. That is going to be linked down in the description as well. And then, of course, the blend mount, which, as you guys can see, quality really just, it speaks for itself. I think that it is a little bit pricey. You can get a universal one for like $30, or you can get this one for like right around the $130 range, or $140, or whatever it is that I paid for it. Somewhere right around there, but I would say that the extra amount, it's worth it. Like, it is a high quality mount, and I mean, for my car, I don't want the radar wiggling. I don't want it shaking, and I definitely don't want it to fall. Like this, I can tell it's not going anywhere. It's not gonna wiggle like anything. Like, this thing is sturdy. And the best part is it's flush with the mirror. It's tucked in as far away as it can, so it's not just sticking out in your face or anything. So that was a huge benefit. So overall, blend mount, awesome, awesome product. Definitely would recommend that. So I'll have that link down below. Make sure you guys use my link as well. If you go through that avenue, it'll actually get you guys 10% off too, which would be super useful to help bring down that cost as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it at all useful, or simply just enjoyed listening to me talk, be sure to go down and click the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. But that's it for today's video. As always, you guys know I always appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.